aspects of music I enjoyed thoroughly. Grew up on top 10 music, soca, the whole thing with Trinidad culture and all that. I was totally enthralled by. And as a teenager going to school and all that kind of thing, doing A-levels. After A-levels, I just happened to be a kind of amateurish DJ, and one day I went by Marshall and to purchase a record at their home in Siparia. His mom was my guidance officer, and my life changed that morning. Where I always felt I wanted to be a sound engineer, but I didn't even know the name of the thing was a sound engineer. I just went to a couple parties and see this thing with like a mixing board, and I find out it was like the coolest thing in the world, with all the lights and things. So his mom told me about the school and Marshall was going, and next thing you know, 3 weeks after, Carnival Monday mornings, on a plane to Ohio to go to school, and that was that. Studied, came back. There aren't much, at the time, many years ago, there aren't much trained engineers at the time in Trinidad, and Caribbean Sound Basin was the top 10 studio in the world at the time, and almost by default I started to work there. And from just a few years before, listening to people like David Rodda and Shadow and purchasing the records, I was with them in the studio telling them take of the vocals and thing. I mean, I had to literally pinch myself. That's the most amazing feeling in the world. Where did it start from? Should probably just give him a resume or discography as the proper term. Locally, all the favorites. I don't want to really be biased, but like Rodda, I was a fan. Shadow, I did a few albums with Shadow. Well, the Homeboys, the Ecstatic Family, that was mad fun. Marshall and the whole crew from right around here, Siparia, Faisalabad, that kind of thing, that was like crazy fun. Everybody everybody in the 90s, because I say Caribbean Sound Basin was almost default. Internationally, I was privileged to work with people like Fate, P. Diddy, Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses, work stuff on Disney Project. That is studio. Live is a whole list of people as well. And I did stuff like with dancehall artists like Conscience and Serrani. Worked at the Barry Simon show, did the opening acts for that. A few years ago I was privileged to work do a show at Madison Square Garden. Stayed in Milwaukee sometime and did stuff with the inner city kids there. That was really cool. At Broadway type production. We did a tribute with a tribute to called We Are the World, We Are the Drum. Yeah. That was choreographed by one of the dancers from the This Is It tour, the ill-fated This Is It tour. He did the choreography together with Beyonce, one of Beyonce choreographers, so that was a privilege as well. Did stuff in Nashville with one of Elvis Presley steel guitar players. He was the producer. I mean, it's just so much to remember right now, but everything has been like a privilege, and I never took it for granted really. When I got the call from Akinola and stuff, and he said Hugh Masekela wanted to record, I was kind of like, okay. First I thought it was just a live recording somewhere we would have done. I didn't realize it was this studio, because like I say, I almost have this dormant for some years now, touring and all that kind of thing. And I was a bit apprehensive, to tell you the truth, because I know, I mean, of his name and all that kind of thing and his body of work. So when he came in, and we actually set up for the recording, the first day recording, I still was pretty much doubtful that it would actually come off. But we so happened to pull the best people together locally, in terms of session musicians, like the drummer, outstanding drummer Alpha, and the bassist, and the band itself, the Deltones, which was like exceptionally good. And the first day, we set up everything, mic up everything. Hugh came in, and I could see he was probably apprehensive, just coming in this kind of backwards, so to speak, place in Faisbad area. I was like, wow, we covered the bush here, right? And from the first drum sound in literally 10 minutes, he was smiling, and he was on the phone with one of his friends from LA or something like that, and he was saying, obviously they ain't trying to have the shit down.
So I was telling my friend, a lifelong friend who produced most of my records, Grazing in the Grass and The Crusader. He called me this evening, so I said, how is it going? I said, well, finally we started recording, and it's just fantastic. He's one of the greatest producers, so I wish I was there.
And that was a real proud moment for me. I mean, so after getting so much accolades in the past and all that kind of thing, and people talking stuff, to hear that from him, and he was really genuine, because I swear he would have left if things wasn't up to par. I'm sure.
Zahir, the engineer, worked with him for a couple hours, because setting up the drums and the right sound and making them ready, sir. But the engineer, Zahir, really knows what he's doing.
This album would be definitely one of the best products to be associated with Trinidad. Everybody should be proud to listen to it, to learn from it for the younger artists. Although it might not be your genre that you particularly like, but just knowing that somebody like Bernie Grodman going to be the master and engineer on this. Michael Jackson has some kind of influence on somebody sometime. Bernie Grodman was Michael's master and engineer. He's a legend, multiple Grammy Award winner. He actually going to touch something that was recorded in Trinidad. A lot of Trinidad musicians played on it. That's something to look forward to. If it's just, just the novelty of it. Plus, some of the songs are locally indigenous folk type songs. That's amazing as well. And some of the younger artists, they could really, really learn from it, and that might be the start of some other hybrid type of music that we could export. Who knows? Because the BPM of these things really, really palatable as compared to the 160 and 165 that we are accustomed to, which really hard to break internationally. This is something that would actually have our indigenous instrument in the BPM, the tempo of the songs. Anybody in any culture across the world would appreciate. I think this is something that we could actually use as some kind of template moving forward and incorporate our local genres, both soca and whatever, chutney and all that kind of thing, and take something from that leaf and look at the entire production and learn something from it.
As you said that, speaking about that, how would you rate his work ethic compared to not so much some of the bigger names? Because you have artists, young and upcoming, that, you know, may or may not think that it is as much work as it is, but you would hear for the whole project. You get to see him when it came to things such as punctuality, when it came to making sure you get the job done. And one of the statements that he said was he didn't think it was time to relax. He came to work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how would you rate that work ethic and
to me,
compared to young upcoming artists?
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, like I said, for the last few years I kind of dormant in the studio game, essentially. But Hugh was reminiscent of what I personally used to. That strong work ethic from even from the older bars in Trinidad. I mean, the Brothers and the Shadows. And when they come in the studio to work, they would work. I'm not quite sure the younger crop of people are. I mean, I still out my age as well, but I don't have things so accessible now because everybody have a studio now. They don't cherish the quality time when they get the chance to be in a studio, and they might be too laid back. And that is already our culture, as mentioned before. But Hugh was reminiscent of all the good artists. And you'd find that the real true professionals are the easiest people to work with. You may think they would have egos and stuff, but that is not true at all. Probably the upstarts, I mean, I don't want to really put my hand on a block and say that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is with the younger set of people. They take things for granted because, again, they get things too easy. Hugh know why this. Hugh came out of Africa in days of apartheid and all that apartheid, and went to the States. So everything was a privilege for him, and he still had a strong work ethic. I started engineering in days when I only had a couple of studios in Trinidad, and I was really, really fortunate. So I guess with that in mind, me and Hugh saw eye to eye. With the younger artists, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of tardiness and all that kind of thing. And I don't think they know so much. They don't appreciate the strong work ethic that needs to be to take it to the other level, you know, to make it really, really be of international status, because people quite contented to do a record, it get played on a couple of stations, and they get gigs. And for some strange reason, they settle for that. I mean, Hugh talking about this album, he wanted this to be his Grammy. He wanted to win a Grammy with this album. I don't think people locally aspire for that. They just want to eat our food. And I mean, I can't really blame them too, but you just need to dream bigger, I think. I used to dream a lot about that. And dreams do come true. People like Hugh, I mean, there's a legacy to follow. People just can't settle.
Great. So you would say, how do you feel about the finished work, at least up to the point that it was completed and then sent out for the final mix down and so on.
Again, from a technical point of view, I thought we did exceptionally well. We were lucky and blessed to have all the right people locally, great backup singers, great session musicians, and the pan players they were really, really good as well, and they were real cooperative. The quality of work, all the solo efforts and things was really, really good. Hugh planned to package this in the way that I always thought pan should be packaged, as part of a song, not necessarily the whole 9 yards where you have every aspect of a pan, every type of pan as the final record. He have it as instruments within a song. He incorporate a guitar pan with a normal drum set and bass. I think so. Technically, I was really, really pleased how it sounded. I mean, what they left here with were the raw multi tracks, and if you just put up those tracks, it would sound almost finished. So I can't wait to hear what the guy who's mixing in South Africa would do to it. And then one of my idols, Booney Grodman, as a mastering engineer from LA, he's mastering it. So I mean, people like Grodman, they won multiple Grammys and all that. So when it left here, I was pleased. It passed my expectations, and Hughes as well. So I can't imagine what it would sound like when it comes out.